Can anybody see me out there? Boy, this is a confusing day. Welcome to Banter Blitz number 66. My name is Jan Gustafsson and I've put on my, not literally, because I'm not wearing a hat, but my tech hat, trying to get this thing to start. Because there's weird issues. So I've used all my tech savvy and I remembered all the episodes of the IT Crowd that I watched a couple years back. And I retorted. I don't think we're supposed to say retorted anymore. I resorted to the core advice of that show. Have you tried switching it off and on again? And I not only created a new show, but also switched the computer on and off. And I think we're rolling. Which is awkward, because did I finish my coffee or did I put it over there while I was doing stuff? Because this one feels old. Anyway, this is Banter Blitz. You challenge me to a 5-minute game. I might or might not play you. And then I'll talk about it. Or probably I'll talk about movies I've seen recently. Like I watched Logan the other night and Split the other night. I also have not covered Moonlight yet on this show. And we all know that... Now you guys come here for the chess. But I come here to talk movies, so there's a bit of a conflict of interest. Anyway, I'll check if my other coffee is on the desk, and if anybody can tell me if they can see me or hear me, would be appreciated. Not if they can see how dirty this mug is. That would be too much information, but I think things might be going better now. And I'll be back in in soon. See, I had a feeling I had more coffee over here. All right, so it looks like I'm live. I'm caffeinated. I'm feeling good. I don't feel good. I never feel too good. I'm trying the audiobook thingy. So the first thing I've been trying is a thing called Steppenwolf or Der Steppenwolf in German by Hermann Hesse. And I read it like 15 years ago. Hesse is one of my favorites. But it's heavy stuff. It's been messing with my mind all day. I've listened to I guess in audiobook terms we say hours, the first 2 hours, and wow, it's deep stuff. I guess we're here for the chess, right? I should play some chess games. How do I do this? Probably have to click on challenges. Here we go, yo. And as usual, I have very random criteria for who I will play next, which are mainly, I'm going to click on somebody, and if I haven't played you yet, I'm going to click on you a little faster. Something like that. Like EA Leonardo. Ooh, this mug looks so dirty. This really bothers me. Watch your TH, as my English teacher always used to say. Oh, there's one thing I gotta do, but I know how to do that. Don't you worry, this is a problem Tech Jan can solve. It will just look a little weird doing it live. But he can do that. This might be a new personality for me. Steppenwolf was talking a lot about the multiple personalities, not just man and wolf, but that inhabit all of us. How we simplify our little world of thought by thinking, oh, there's one soul in my chest or two. I can't translate this stuff. That's why it's good to be German, so I can actually listen to it in German. Anyway, that was weird logic, right? Anyway, EA Leonardo, let's play a game of chess. I shall go d4, and you challenge me to a 3-minute game. Please, people, challenge me to 5-minute games. I keep falling for it because I never look what time the challenge is, but it really doesn't give me a lot of time to explain my deep thoughts, like I'm playing the Trompovsky. Here he goes knight e4, bishop h4, bishop f4, or h4 have all been played. But currently, at the highest level, bishop f4 is pretty much the only accepted recipe. See, with 5 minutes, I could have said all of that a lot more slowly. But now, we have to rush through this. And I'm a bit surprised that, what's an EGA, by the way? Also, no time to Google this with 3 minutes. EGA Leonardo's taking his or her time here from Peru. I went to a Peruvian restaurant during my recent Madrid trip. No, that's not true. During my Madrid trip before that. And I'm a big fan of Peruvian food. Who knew? Excellent stuff over there. G6. I am not familiar with this move, which means I might contemplate thinking. But I also learned from Steppenwolf's heavily on my mind, that humans, we're built for living, not for thinking. So if you try to overdo this thinking thing, you might drown in a sea of thoughts. Knight d2, he goes back to f6. What do we have now? Do we have like a London system where I'm a couple tempi up? By couple tempi, I mean one tempo. I guess that is what I'm dealing with here. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to do stuff. I might as well do this. I'm just opening my little chat window here. And if I do this simultaneously, then it's gonna look all messy. And who likes messy stuff? Steppenwolf dude, he was into messy stuff. And yeah, I know you can't see the board. Don't you worry. Mainly talking, I don't know whom I'm even talking to myself, I would guess. All right, and we're back to this chess game where EA Leonardo has castled, and we do have a bit of a goofy version of a London system here. Black went d5. I'm not quite sure what the normal white plan here is, where to put this bishop. You could make a case for bishop e2, bishop d3, all the good squares. But d3 seems more natural to me. Sometimes black can play bishop f5 in these structures. After bishop takes gf, I'm never sure how to handle this. If I hadn't castled yet, then knight e5 followed by g4 would be an effective antidote. Here, not so clear. And since I had to do stuff on the side, I'm down on time. I'm gonna have to use all my my speed. Yeah, I feel like Donald Trump, really looking hard for a good word, never finding it. Stole that from Alec Baldwin. That's how I described him. And then using a different one, my fantastic speed, to tilt the odds here in my favor. So far, we're both very slow. EA Leonardo is also not really beating any speed records. Well, we're just getting the pieces out, really. But I will not complain about that one bit. And don't tilt me with saying stuff like stream freezes, even though I'm sure it's true and you're not trying to tilt me. In the chat, I've done all my tech expertise thing already today. I have no more tech strength left in me. Feel like an aging Logan. Wow, smooth segue there. Because I wanted to talk about the movies I've been watching. Probably not ideal while I have 1 minute left on the clock. But I've seen a couple good movies. Normally I go to every one of these superhero movies. It always has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think this is the one. And then I leave the cinema bitterly disappointed that they tricked me again. So when I saw Logan had very good reviews, I thought, okay, I'm gonna fall for it again. But it's actually good. I enjoyed it. Very gritty, dark, dramatic. You can see the damage these claws really can do to a human being. So it's extremely violent, very gory. But kudos to Hugh Jackman. He really signed up for the job. Like, he didn't mail it in. There was some impressive acting, or I thought so, at least for a superhero thingy. And I'm trying to win this game on the side, but I can't grab this. Gimme. Looks like EA Leonardo really channeled his inner speed demon as well here. But I have a feeling that insight that you have to speed up might have come a little late. And I did win on time. But yeah, that's why I keep saying, challenge me to 5-minute game. Good for you, good for me. Win-win situation. Alright, the Marov is not a fan of the English language. Then please don't watch the show, the Marov, because this is called Banter Blitz. It's an English show. even though it's English with a heavy German accent. So I'm sure you can still like detect bits and pieces there. Let's play another game of chess. Wow, a Fide Master. Where's the Fide Master? I saw a Fide Master title on my screen here. Here we go. Fide Master. Oh, come on. This is another 3-minute game. Next time I fall for this, I'm gonna take this one. But next time I see it's a 3-minute game, I'm just gonna abort, because it really takes the fun out of banter blitzing for me. Now, once again, I have to focus on making moves quickly, which, yeah, is not the idea. Maybe it is, but I don't know. And c6 is what I gave in my video series. Rook e8 or d5 are perfectly legit moves in this position as well. One point of c6 is that you vacate the, whatever the square is called, the c7 square for the bishop. Another point is that here you could consider going c takes d5, which I believe would equalize, but it's a little dull. So I'm gonna go for more standard play. Or a more double-edged structure, I should say, and go e takes d5. It looks like we're just banging out moves. Let's do that. Give me that. Not gonna give it to me, are you? Never gonna give it up. He's planning to play e4, which is not that simple in the structure, because I also have my eyes set on the d4 pawn pretty firmly. So e4 I can take and then take on d4. Therefore, yeah, not easy to get that in. Knight e2 is natural, and in the interest of... Can I go g5 or does e4 bother me then? I don't know. I'll try to prevent e4 first by going bishop b6. g5 was an interesting move. Trying to prepare g4 myself. Now... Okay, b4, I don't really care. Let's do it. I have mixed feelings about white going g4, cutting my bishop off. In communication with the other pieces. And if he goes g4, I might go bishop g4, fg, knight g4, which looks like an interesting piece sacrifice, at least. I'm not sure if it's any good, but it does look interesting. So we'll see what happens. Knight c1, too deep for me. He wants to put his knight on c5, I guess. All right. Let's end these e4 cruel intentions once and for all. I think you should go f4, when I will probably hop into e4 with a comfortable position. I'm not sure if I'm better necessarily, but I'm certainly not worse. Or certainly... yeah, pretty sure I'm doing all right. How to win remains another question, though. Won't be so easy. I can try to put some heavy pieces on the H file, but I'm not quite sure there's a breakthrough there. I'll try, though. White has adapted fairly passive setup. He's trying to make something happen on the queen side, but I don't think there's many inhabitants of Queenstown, New Zealand over here. And while on the king side, I'm not sure I'll ever really threaten anything, but I'll certainly try. Rook h8, queen f5, queen h5, rook g3 is looming. Something might happen. Now rook g3 is a bit of a threat already. That's why he runs away, or so he tries. Well, let's give this check just to see what happens. Maybe I'll throw in this move to threaten rook g3 again. It's very unpleasant to defend such a position, because the white bishop really is just a spectator for all my industrial light square magic on the king side. And yeah, it's not fun. This is just one check, as far as I can tell. And the end is near, my friend J. Matthias. Yeah, apologies, there's not that much explaining to be done, even though this game I played quickly, because I was tilting about the 3-minute game. So please, 5 minutes. Anyway, good game. Thanks for playing. Let's find another opponent. What about Uhmud Atta Akbar? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Let's see what he's up to. Here he goes, d4, c4. As you do. Do I play another Nimzo? Last Nimzo went well. Might as well do it again. Knight f3 is a move I've played a lot myself with white. In my video series I gave short castles, which I think is an interesting way to meet this. After e3, there's many ways to handle business. b6, c5, d5. You could even make a case for knight e4. But I'll stick to classical style Nimzo, trying to fight for the center, d5. The main move here is bishop d3, I would guess. When... I don't know what I was gonna say. Now we have a weird hybrid of a3 and knight f3 things. I guess c5 is fine. I guess dc4 is... No, I guess b6 is also fine. But c5 is the most natural. I'll wait with dc4 until this bishop moves. And for now, not sure actually after queen c2. There were probably other ways to do this. What I'm saying is I don't really understand the position. I'm just winging it. After queen c2, I have a feeling I could have done something different. I'll go ed. This structure is always very, very tricky. These bishops will probably get exchanged, which looks like an achievement for black. And it is in some ways, but it's still not so easy to play. If you, let's say, castles in, or probably you should start with knight e5, then slowly but surely prepares f3 and e4. It's not an easy position to handle, so I've learned to respect this situation. I'm not quite sure what to do. Having said all that, this bishop is kind of bad. I don't think I'm in trouble or anything, just, yeah, that the structure is a lot trickier than it looks like. I'm trying to get rid of this very active knight ASAP. f4 is kind of what I was trying to provoke. Not sure if rightly so. But now, I'm not sure if going back is such a great idea. But since his main plan is no longer possible, which is to prepare e4, and also this e4 square has been weakened for good, I felt I was justified in losing these two tempi. And next thing on the agenda would be to kick this knight away with f6 and develop my own knight, probably somewhere. c6, a5 if possible. And hope nothing bad happens along the way. He goes a4, which is logical. This bishop should go to a3, so it gets something to do. And I'm not sure, but I'll do it. I'm not sure if this is a good move. I'm never sure about these big strategic decisions. I have a feeling it might be a good move, because my d5 pawn was a little weak, and I got a little concerned about dc5 followed by rook d1, targeting this dude. But, of course, there is a bit of a price to pay in releasing the tension in the center either. Which is, it's not so easy anymore to break through in the center. Still, I have a feeling my light squared bishop, my light squared, knights don't have a square color yet, remember that. My knight might be superior to his dark squared bishop. My plan is something like queen e7, rook e8, knight b3, take this and take e3 and win. Something along those lines. Did I centralize? I mean, on the camera. Not sure if my plan will materialize like this. But we'll find out. Does he want to take on b3? I'm not sure I want that to happen. Like, black is better than, but it wouldn't be so easy to find a breakthrough either. I don't know. I think I'll maneuver around a little bit. Ah, no, that was his plan. All right. That doesn't bother me much. I think he has to take if I go knight b3. Takes, queen b3. And the question is then, how do I break through? Nah, you know what? I'll change plans. I don't want to find out if white can fortify his position there if I allow him to give the exchange. Instead, I'm gonna go find my horsey new work on different sides of the board, even though it's really sort of the same sides too. Oof. Why did I blunder this? That was not the intention. I thought I had expertly trapped the rook on b4, to be frank with you. I did not see rook takes b6 was a legal move. Which is a bit shocking. You could make a deep psychological analysis like he had still old pictures from the queen being on c2, but it's mainly just good old-fashioned stupidity. The good news is, since his bishop is so bad, I'm still very much in the game. Knight f5 is coming, a4 is weak. But there was no deep thought behind this at all. This was just a ridiculous blunder. There's a5, rook takes b6. Well, if I start with knight f5, I'm clearly in good shape. Alright, now I have to do the unthinkable. Calculate. Knight e3, bishop e3, rook b8, king f7. Nah, don't trust it. Let's do this. Might look a little weird, and he can take, but I thought if he takes knight e3, then my initiative will be more powerful than whatever pawns I'm missing. One pawn. While if he doesn't take, then at least my king gets a bit of a luft. Knight e3 might be a threat. Next move, I could potentially try to grab some more space with h4. Who knows? Rook b5 is another perfectly sensible move. Ever since I blundered that pawn, things have become a lot tougher. Who would have thought? You blunder one key pawn, give your opponent a bunch of open files, and all of a sudden, the game is no longer easy. Very unfair, this chess. Rook h5, I'm surprised he's allowing my knight to live, because now I have some nasty ideas like queen g4, knight g2. Just queen g4 looks good enough, doesn't it? I would guess so. A threatening mate on g2, probably also queen d1. While after bishop takes, even rook takes looks fairly promising. Yeah, this looks good. Because if he takes on d5, rook e1 followed by rook e2, it's checkmate. So I still managed to come through in spite of, yeah, really, blundering a pawn on one move. Which should not happen. What's the fastest mate here? Queen g3 is maybe the cutest way, but I'm not into any cute chess. I want to give as many checks as possible. If there's a mate with checks, normally it's not worth trying to find an alternative. So, yeah, it was a good an educational strategical game until I blundered the whole position away with a5, which is just complete madness. After knight f5 would have been a better game. Anyway, thanks for the game, Umut Ata Akbar. Let's find another one. Who could resist this profile picture by Slappy Jones? Not me, that's for sure. So let us play against Mr. Slappy Jones. Is Slappy Jones connected to what we can see or cannot see on the profile pic? I know what Jones stands for in some the way some people talk. Slappy? Nah, probably it has nothing to do with what I'm imagining. Maybe Jones is just his last name and he likes to slap people. That is a much more natural explanation. He likes to pin me for sure. Bishop g5. Here there's different ways to handle this. But for me as a Vienna player, I've always liked the move bishop b4 check. When after the most natural knight c3, d takes c4, transposes back to Vienna territory, e4, c5. And that's transforming the whole thing today into one long plug for my video series. But I've done another video series on the Vienna. a3, a bit of a sideline, not a bad one at all, where I consider the most prudent response to be bishop takes, followed by c5. There's certainly other options. After e3, once again, many options. Queen a5, knight bd7. But I do vaguely recall that I thought c takes d4 was clever. One point being that after cd4, queen a5 is an unpleasant check. And after knight d4, I have a feeling queen a5 might also be strong. Because it's tackling this bishop, which Slappy Jones sloppily left all alone on g5, and is also targeting Mr. c3 pawn. So it's a bit of an unpleasant double attack. No double entendres this time around, but a double attack it is. Because bishop f6, queen c3, he has to go king e2, then gf6. I don't think there's any particular compensation for what he's given me. Franz LMD is weighing in that Slappy Jones is just casually walking around and slapping people in the street. Looks like he knows the man. I don't know, Slappy Jones. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but I always thought if you slap too many people, at some point they start slapping back. So you gotta be careful doing that to people in the street, Slappy Jones. Anyway, we did get the position I was talking about. And queen c2 not really helping white's case because I can't take this rook. Also, I should say the thing I always say at this juncture. I'm well aware I'm a favorite against a player rated 1349, but I do not discriminate. Among premium members, my only way of discrimination is that if I haven't played you yet, I might prefer you. I haven't played Slappy Jones yet, who resigns here after queen c2, queen takes a1, because he will not see that rook back. Thanks for the game, Mr. Jones. And next time, yeah, don't go knight takes d4. I believe the smartest way to handle this mess here might actually be to go bishop takes f6, queen f6, and then cd4. When there's no longer queen a5 check, white will get this pawn back. And okay, black can maybe equalize, but I thought that was the way to do it. Do I say a lot of I'm developing all these weird tics these days. Alright. Must find new game. Wow, 2600. This dude I have played in the past, but I think not for a long way. Mr. Discombobulated. I remember years ago speculating about what Discombobulated stood for. I have since learned the word, and since I played bishop g5 so successfully earlier, this time around why not play bishop f4, which weirdly is all the rage these days with the cool kids, the London system. I'm not quite sure what's so great about it, and I'm not sure if it's here to stay, but I do believe, yeah, that, well, obviously white can't be worse, and arguably, especially in these e6 systems, white's chances for an opening advantage are as good as in main lines. So it's by no means a ridiculous way to play. h6, does he want to go knight h5? I guess he does. You know what? I like my bishops. I respect bishops. Many people have accused me of being a member of the Church of Two Bishops. So I'll go h3. And now after d5, a big question is, who has gained from this h6, h3 inclusion? I'm not sure. If he goes bishop d6, I can no longer go bishop g3, which in the position with h6, h3 would be the main move to play. On the other hand, I was gonna make up some drawback, but I couldn't think of it. And then he went bishop to e7, not bishop to... I'm struggling with square names these days. Bishop to d6. I'm also wondering, since he went b6 so early, if it makes any sense to change course and go bishop b5, queen a4. But I guess bishop b5, just bishop d7. I don't really gain much. Nah. Now my lack of experience with these structures will start telling, because I honestly don't know where to put my pieces. I'll go a3, just hinting at b4, which might be a useful thing to do for me. Well, if he goes a5, as he does, then at the very least he has to weaken his queen side a little bit. Not sure if that's big drama, though. Also not sure about this move, but some of the idea of him going c4 and b5. Well, probably that's dumb. Probably I should just play some normal move. And then, yeah, if c4, b5, play in the center with e4. But I don't know, somehow I was attracted to bishop b5. But I'm changing my mind already. I don't like it anymore. Here's bishop d7. Fair enough. I'll go queen e2, not to run into any knight takes d4 tactics. But all of this is, I think, not really a blueprint for how to play these London positions. It's more lack of understanding on yours truly's parts. Tough for black to play as well, though, so it's not all bad, and I don't think I'm in trouble or anything. I'm just struggling with some of these decisions, and I actually kind of like the move c4 now for him. Can I go e4? I'll do it, but once again, it's double-edged. I'm just pausing to make sure I'm not blundering any knight takes d4 trickery, but I always have knight takes d4 covering my bishop on b5, so doesn't look like that's much of an issue. Then again, e4, even if I got in e5, doesn't win the game for me. I'm not sure I want to go e5 actually. Probably it would be more natural to keep the tension, go rook e1 and hint at some e takes d5s. But interesting stuff. Rook e8 preparing for that very scenario. Fair enough. I'll go rook e1 anyway. Doesn't look like either side wants to release the tension in the center. Which means I have to start looking for ways to strengthen my position. I can certainly think of one more useful move like rook ad1. But then it's gonna be decision time for what to do. Even rook ad1 is not always useful. I lose sight of this guy. He goes knight b8, asking me to change the nature of the beast. And I could go either a4 or bishop takes d7. Probably no reason to get too subtle. I'll go bishop d7. Now a4. Just to make it a little harder for him to get b5 followed by b4 in. Still an interesting position. Many themes here. I could still think about e5 and then start maybe playing on the queen side at some point with b3. If takes rook b1. Going after those squares there. Is that a good plan? I don't know. I'll do it. But it could very well be misguided. Because I also create weaknesses in my own camp. The pawn on c3 is not very happy about this development. Well, the pawn on b6 is reasonably well protected for now. I should probably throw in this move to make it a little harder for this horsey to get out. Because if it can just develop with knight g5, what have I achieved really? Queen d3, rook c8. No particularly convenient way to cover the pawn either. But nobody said it was easy. Knight b1 looks terrible, but at least there is a glimmer of hope for a career for this knight in form of knight a3, knight b5. Should e7, doesn't really threaten anything. I'll wait with h5 until this knight has moved. I could actually wait further, but yeah, I'll wait a bit longer. Because even after knight g6, bishop g3, it's going to be hard to stop me from pushing the knight back. And now it feels like I should try to expand on the king side. Not sure if that mission will have success. It's critical that he doesn't gain any counterplay against the, I was going to say the c3 pawn, but then I saw, oops, now the target here, queen c6, yeah, oof, mishandled it. Or maybe it was just bad from the get-go. Did not plan to lose that pawn. No, my pieces are just clumsily placed for this. Queen c4 is gonna come. Yeah, it's easy to play with black too. Not happy. Rook a1. Ay, ay, ay. What have I done to my poor position? Or wasn't that poor? It was actually quite okay. But then I did some major damage to it. All right. It's just bad. I can't take it. I'm gonna need some long-winded maneuvering to get to that pawn. Now I can take, right? Knight takes or bishop takes? Probably bishop takes. Now the question is, who's better and why here? I got my pawn back, so I'm probably actually okay, right? We're running a bit low on time. But yeah. Looks like things could have gone a lot worse here. Now I am kind of winning. But I'm gonna have to speed up. And yeah, messy game. Sorry, Discombobulated, who was certainly pretty much winning. I think he outplayed me in some phase of the game. I misevaluated this position. I thought I just had good attacking chances on the king side, but the a4 pawn is so weak that this counterplay with rook c4, which for some reason I just didn't see coming, was a real big headache once it happened. Yeah, here, I didn't like knight f5, but even after knight f5, I'm obviously in trouble due to the past a-pawn. Yeah, had to get a little lucky there. Thanks for the game. Discombobulated. Oh, another Fide Master. Mr. Gabrielito D4. Gabrielito D4. D4. That much Spanish I do know. From Colombia. Let's see what Gabrielito's up to. He goes knight f6, and I will do the good old knight f3 c4 business I've been doing for all these years. Gabrielito seems like a King's Indian player. Else he would have played d5 here. And I'm gonna go for the good old fianchetto. King's Indian players fairly reliably play d6 systems, not c6, d5 systems, which I think are objectively better, but of course d6, followed by, for example, bishop f5, leads to very playable positions as well. I'm not sure if knight e1 is the best move. I've certainly looked at other moves here. Knight e1, the idea is to stop black from going knight e4 and preparing to push e4 myself. Now we get a fairly typical King's Indian structure. My bishop is on g2, where it helps to stop getting checkmated, but it doesn't have a lot of influence on the queen side. So it has pros and cons, as is often the case with such things. Gabrielito goes for very direct attack on my king side, as you do with this knight e8, f5 plan. But yeah, it's harder here to get in his typical f4 attack, so I'll try to keep him busy with queen b3, just targeting Mr. b7 and see what happens. Queen c8, fair enough. Do I go bishop g5? Ah, looks tempting. If you can develop with tempo, I don't know if that applies, but might as well. Bishop f6. I wanted to take. I'm gonna have to think if it's any good. Takes, knight takes. Honestly, my idea was to have some either c6 or knight takes e5 tricks, but they don't really seem to get the job done yet. Is this another 3-minute game? Did I fall for it again? Certainly looks like it. Alright, then less talking, more speeding up. Sorry. I might want to open the position with f4 here. c6 didn't really hit home that hard yet because of takes, followed by bishop e6. So I had to switch plans a bit, and I feel like I might be better coordinated for opening the position with this f4 move. Not sure how I'm gonna react to ef. Both gf and knight f4 look kind of reasonable, but in order to keep it simple, we'll go knight f. He can take a pawn with dc, but then d6 check could become a bit of an issue. Well, I also want to go e5 next move, if permitted. Just, you know, opening more files for my heavy artillery. Gabrielito is hanging in there, but his position does not look very pleasant. I don't have any direct wins or anything, but I like the way things are looking. Throw in a little c6 maybe. Just after I said I don't have any direct wins, I thought, you know what, might at least look for some direct wins, see what happens. Not sure if this gets the job done already, but I thought after bishop c6, bishop takes, there could be some problems. So he goes rook b8, giving me some choices. If I go here, for example, bishop c6, queen d8, rook d8, bishop c6, looks like I'm a piece up in the end, and I like piece upness. It's one of my favorite states. Oh, I missed rook d6. See, I'm getting sloppy again in a good position. Oh boy. The same old problem. Still probably winning, but should have considered this a bit earlier. I can take though, right? Let's just make sure to get the body count right. This is just one check, as far as I can tell. Piece is a piece, as they say. I don't know. I like my chances in this flagging battle. Gabrielito D loses on time, but in my defense, I had a pretty good position to general. That went rather smoothly, but once again, 3 minutes. Too stressful for old men like me. Alright, thanks for the game, Gabrielito. Let's play Omo Kane. Is that a song title? Gimme Omo Kane? That's Novo Kane, right? Omo Kane from Turkey. Let's see what he has in store. Goes knight f3. Excellent move. Who am I to argue with that move? d5, d4. Let's keep it symmetrical for as long as we can. But now I'm going to have to break the symmetry. c5 is asking a bit too much of my position. Knight c3. I've played some weird Vienna earlier. What else can I do? Knight bd7 has become trendy in this position. Mainly because after bishop f4, dc, e3, people have started to do this b5 move. And they seem to like what they're seeing there. I'm gonna play a different move though, just out of scientific interest. b5, knight b5 is what is my game against Knightish and many more. Recent game, knight d5 doesn't have a great reputation because of bishop takes c4. And after knight f4, ef4, this is a structure which at first sight looks quite nice for black. But ever since the games of Alekhine, Rubinstein, all these dudes, we've learned that the space advantage, the very passive bishop here for black on c8, actually weigh more heavily than the slightly broken pawn structure. And this position is, in fact, pretty dangerous for black. I have nothing to add to that assessment. I just never played it with black, so I wanted to get my feet wet a bit here. I don't think d3 is necessarily the best square for the bishop. I probably would have kept it on b3 to support some t5 or f5 breaks. Because now I'm not threatening to take directly, but at least it's gonna be on the back of your mind, or maybe on the forefront of your mind, that the d4 pawn could be a weakness. And also this g6, bishop g7, I can't take such liberties if the center gets blown open with the bishop on b3 and a very quick t5. At least that's what I would think, as mentioned. My practical experiences with this kind of thing are extremely limited. Queen d6 is once again a little provocative, but in an ideal world I want to go rook d8 and then bishop d7 and bishop e8. So this bishop does not really stand in the way. Yeah, knight b5 is not ideal for my ideal little world vision, but I'm gonna have to live with it. The problem is now I'm forced to play c6, which I want to avoid. Ugh, another bad move. Okay, time to focus. Because now I'm allowing knight e4 with tempo, which once again is ridiculous. Instead I had to start with bishop d7, bishop e8, and then go after these pawns. Knight e2 is more passive. It probably allows me to complete my little maneuver. Not that putting the bishop on e8 is necessarily a winning strategy, but at least it allows me to connect the rooks, gets the bishop out of the way without creating any further awkwardness in my position. Now maybe a5, a4 could be a plan if he doesn't allow me to do that, which he doesn't. At least he has to weaken this b4 square. I could put a horsey there, hope for the best. Knight e5, fair enough. Rook c8, and there's always the a5 pawn to worry about, which Queen d5 is a solid move, but a little dull. Oh no, rook c8, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. It's time to start opening up about my true feelings. Or the position. c5, knight e5. Maybe, maybe not. Probably not, because there's still trouble on Zealandia. After knight e5, I have to play something slightly unpleasant like b6, but you know. Can't have everything. Queen c5, queen b7. Nah, don't like it. I didn't really think this opening up thing through, as you can probably tell. Still feels like I'm doing alright, but I have to waste some time to get my pawn back on c5. Yeah, there's even some very annoying moves like knight b6 when I might have to reconsider my statement that I'm still doing alright. Not so sure anymore. Knight d6. Frankly, I had another nervous breakdown. No, that's not the word. Another miscalculation where I thought after knight d6 I can go queen c5, and for whatever reason he can't take on what's the square called? c8, but that's not really true. So I had to do this, and I still don't have my pawn back, which is a bit sad. Because I like having, ideally not having to win pawns back at all. How can I pose new problems? I don't know. If in doubt, do nothing. That's my life philosophy, at least. Yeah, this hasn't gone well. I'm still not unduly worried, but I'm very willing to admit this has not gone according to plan. Maybe I should get unduly worried, or duly worried, soon. But there's still some trickery in the position. As long as there's tricks, you shall not despair, but that doesn't really rhyme. As long as there's tricks, you shall not look for a fix. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, that's the problem. But anyway, as long as there's tricks, you can still beat your opponent with sticks. I think that's what I've been trying to say. So I did win an exchange because of the bishop takes f2 trickery. And now I'm kind of winning. Which is why I did not have to despair. Not a whole lot for white to do. He probably should bring his king closer with king e2. Bishop c4, knight c4, rook b3, knight a5. And some precision would still be needed. Rook b3 probably also wins. But no, why would I do any of those things? Just centralize the king. Have a little patience. But good job by Omo Kane hanging in there. Do I want to go e5? I can't decide on stuff. Yeah, why not? Now the F file is open, and rooks like open files is what a wise blind man once told me. It's also not true. Sometimes I confuse myself with Daredevil. Is Daredevil the one with the... No, Daredevil's the blind one, right? And he's being trained by this master who looks like Splinter from the Turtles. But he's called Stick. Who is not blind, but has this vibe of a blind master. Anyway, Omo Kane, I'm in good shape here as far as I can tell. Both clockwise and material-wise. Yeah, the turning point was this. After knight d6, queen b2, he missed his trick with bishop d4, bishop f2, after which I'm winning. Before that, very shaky game on my part. How often do I say, to put it mildly, per show? A lot, I guess, right? That's what I was wondering. Kadu Ortolan is chiming in. Is Stick blind too? He's not blind when he starts training, or is he? When he starts training Daredevil and Elektra? I've watched way more Daredevil than I should have, But I'm not sure he's blind all the way. And Mamamoo Ededu is wondering, is it true that Lawrence is your mentor in life? I don't know. There's certainly a lot of stuff to learn from Lawrence, but I'm not sure if I would give him full mentor status yet. He's more like a senior whom I look up to and whom I will go to for advice, but he's not mentoring me on all the big things yet. Alright, so it looks like we've established that Stick is indeed blind, but I'm still not fully sold on that. Looks like I've missed more exciting discussions in the chat. There's also speculation about a potion that I own, which is true. I have this green thing, and I don't like admitting such things, but when I was watching the Logan movie, this is only a very mild spoiler, but if you want to stay spoiler-free, fast forward for like 30 seconds. When I was watching the Logan movie yesterday, and he's drinking all this green potion, and then him and the girl, they go to town on a bunch of these, whatever they are, military, I don't know. I teared up a little bit. It was a romantic or very sad little moment, right? Once he has the super strength and boom, it was beautiful. Yeah, I did. My eyes got a little watery there. I shouldn't even joke about this. Logan really is a very, very serious drama, very serious character study. I recommend it, and even more surprisingly, I also recommend the other movie I've seen. Did I say this already? I think I probably said it. Split. I was very split about going to watch it in the first place, because I thought this M. Night Shyamalan, is that his name? He made one good movie in The Sixth Sense, or arguably 1.5 good movies if we count The Sixth Sense. And what's the second movie called? The one with the train thing? I don't know. Anyway, arguably 1.5 good movies. And after that, they gave him budgets for another 10,000 movies, all of which have been horrible. But it seems like he's back. The Visit, which I haven't seen, is supposed to be good. Oh, by the way, this opening I've looked at in the meantime, because I've done like 1,000 Banter Blitz shows where I said this expletive here I haven't studied, but I'm gonna check it till the next game. But by now I've studied it. I think it's a bad opening. I forgot what I studied, but I thought this knight c3 and takes knight d2 f3 was good for white. Is that what I thought? Yeah, Grandmaster preparation, boys and girls. I can't remember a thing. f3, do they take here? I thought they don't take. I thought they go knight c6 or some weird move. Anyway, I've studied it, but I can't remember the results of all my hard work, apparently. It's bad for black, but why wouldn't it be bad for black? If you go e6, f5, d6, bishop e7, why should that be the way to play chess? Not sure about my queen c2, rook d1 business. I'd rather have this rook on f1 and the other rook on d1. But you know what they say. You don't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. I believe that is what they say. Or is it you can't always get what you want? Can I get e4? I want e4. J.B. Long. Are you related to the actor Justin Long? Justin Blake Long, is that your full name? Is there an actor called Justin Long? That's probably another question I should ask. Bishop e8, interesting move. Did not see that one. Opting for the g6 square. How can I punish you for this plan? Maybe I can't. I'll just be caveman style. Must create passed pawn. Queen b3 is interesting here. Do I want to go queen b3? Knight a5, queen d5. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Yeah, why not, I guess. Mamadou Idido is wondering how big is the chance to play Jan, percentage-wise? I don't know such things. I think when the show started I had like 41 challenges. Might be more by now. Typically, how many games do I play per show? I can't do math. 12 maybe? 12, 15? But then I prefer guys whom I've never played before. So that probably increases your chance if you never played me before. I don't know. It's a very complex equation, which I'm too dumb to figure out. But I think if you stick around, I'll probably play you one day or another. Can I take now? I want to take. That was the whole point of the operation, right? Such a greedy, dumb approach to chess, to just go after that pawn, which I might not even be able to keep. Nah! I'm disgusted by myself for even wanting to take this pawn. Queen d5, and I also thought about it and thought after takes, knight b4, knight e5, rook d8. I can't see how to keep my pawn. So I had to change my mind and advance this pawn one square. I really, really, really want to take, but I have a feeling I should practice some restraint, because after knight b4 I might lose my queen or whatnot, and just get some pieces out. Not sure if I'm doing great here though. Bishop h5 is a bit annoying. Or even g5. g5, no, maybe g5 is too much. Bishop h5 bothers me. Knight a5 bothers me less. This knight was well placed on c6 to keep an eye on the d4 pawn. I understand that the looming threat of me taking on b7 must have gotten annoying, but I don't think knight a5 had to be a priority. Weird position. At some point I should do something active. But when is that point? And what is the activity? He wisely goes back, I believe. That is the correct decision. I gained a bit of time, but frankly not that much. And there's still time to go bishop h5 and annoy me with the same little questions. Bishop b4 looks a bit like a blank shot. But, you know, I'll move my queen away, let you figure it out what the point of it was. What is the point of it all? Why are we here? How many are we? Are there others? I'm not even talking about the plot of Lost. Bishop h5, rook c6, rook b8, very deep. I don't know, man. I feel like you've moved around randomly enough that I earned the right to make some active moves, like knight g5, threatening knight e6, queen d5 or bishop d5. You know, let's ask some questions. Let's have a civilized discussion where we're not trying to just bully our point of view home, but we hear the arguments of one another, maybe get to know us better in the process. This could be the beginning of a wonderful friendship, JB Long as I'm allowed to do some forking. Did that sound dirty? Wasn't meant. Bishop h5, knight e6. Bishop d1, rook d1. I don't know such things. Let's find out. Still time to zwischenzug me, but I was hoping that I can finally get my sweet pawn. I wasn't sure about knight d4, rook d4, bishop c5, but it didn't look like it's enough. No. It seems like I'm a pawn up for not very much. I have a pawn and the compensation, which is normally a good place to be in. Especially if Mr. Bishop does not have a lot of squares. The end is near, JB Long. Because your pieces no longer belong. Two bishops outrank one knight. That is a fact. Therefore, JB Long resigns. Thanks for the game, Mr. JB. What time is it? I started like hours and hours late, so I'm gonna have to stick around a bit. It ruins all my plans for this day. Nah, I was just gonna go home and eat some chocolate on the couch. Probably watch a sad movie, cry myself to sleep. But before all of that happens, I'm gonna play Mr. D Serio. So serious. This is serious. Smoking X can make you delirious. I don't know why I pre-move knight f6. This is my go-to pre-move in Bullet, which especially on chess 24 makes absolutely no sense to pre-move the first move, because your clock only starts running after your first move. Still, I've been doing this for decades to pre-move knight f6 and then knight b6. In every Bullet game, not in every Bullet game, in lots of Bullet games. So I have lots of experience playing these positions, even though c3 is kind of new to me. And the problem is that you can't go bishop h5 here yet because it runs into e6, which is a pretty nasty pawn sacrifice. So I had to take... And this is... No, actually I've played this position a lot too, but it's bad for black. White is in time to just stabilize his center, bishop e3, knight d2, or whatnot. And black is not really in time to get anything done. When white just has the two bishops and a space advantage, you could argue, but I got rid of my light square bishop, so this must be nice French. It's not as simple as that. Even light square bishops have a role to play in the events to come. Queen f4 is a bit of a weird move, but it's still an unpleasant position. I think you should just castle, go queen g3, whatnot. So, long story short, the Alekhine with pre-moving knight to b6 is probably not the greatest of openings, especially the way I interpret it. Long castles. Whoa. Bold. Bold? Bold. Typically, the queenside is not a safe haven for the white king in these positions. Bishop takes. Fair enough. Guess I have to take that. If queen d4, bishop c5, I win. Probably a pawn, and at the very least, a lot of time for developing. After cd, rook c8 check, followed by whatever, bishop a3. Looked like I would gain pretty strong initiative as well. And oof, that's, oh boy, some misguided greed there, just there. I just took on f2 without bothering to think what he might do in reply, and he does go rook f1 obviously, when my f7 pawn is in a bit of trouble, you could say. Not quite sure if I'll make it out of this predicament alive. Ooh, way to blunder the game away in one move. Hey. Am I gonna lose to D Serio 4? Could happen. Position is dead lost after, let's say, rook f7 or queen h7. Unfortunately, everything wins. But rook f7 was a little winninger. And yeah, I know that's not a word. So queen h7 gives me a glimmer of hope, even though my position remains terrible, of course. Maybe this king is not that bad on d6, actually. Thing with opposite colored bishops is initiative is important, but also it's hard to get checkmated on the dark squares if he has a light square bishop. I'm already dreaming of getting my own little checkmate in. So I might have dodged. Do I overuse dodging bullets? Is that an offensive expression in the world of chess? I don't know. Rook f8. Does he have any checks? Nah. Yeah, not my most convincing effort ever. But you know. It takes two to tango. First of all, I never understood that expression. Secondly, I'm pretty sure, even though I don't understand it, it doesn't apply here at all. I do understand that I'm winning now, because a rook is a rook, and this king indeed did turn out to be fairly safe on d6. All right, you can have one check. Imagine you only get one check. Do not miss your chance. Pretty clumsy technique. Yeah, fair enough, b4. I don't know. What have you done to me, D-Serio? You got me all hypnotized. I'm not making any sensible moves. Good thing is I'm a rook up, so I would guess I have some margin for error. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like everything's hanging. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. My king is all unsafe. Got me all twisted here. Okay, can I do this? He doesn't have that many checks, does he? Hope not. This is really just... I have a feeling I might still get checkmated in this game, which I probably deserve to. Playing like Steinitz, the king is a strong piece that can look after himself. But it does look like the checks have come to an end. You know what? Let's keep the king involved. Oh, maybe I should have gone. No, let's not get too fancy. I would love to mate him with a king move. It's gonna be hard to do. This is a king check, which is nice. I can give another king check, but can I mate him with a king move? Let's find out. Nah, I can't do it, right? King a3. Nah. Nope. Sorry, Desirio. I won't be able to mate you with a king move. Thanks for the game, though, and yeah, sorry for my horrible play. Bishop takes d2. Bishop takes f2 was borderline insanity once again. It's not that hard, really, to see rook f1 in reply when f7 is hanging. Here, if I castle or do whatever, I'm all right. But good game by Desirio, number 4. All right, let's play another game of the chess. The chess. What about Mr. Lizard from Uganda? Is that true? Says he's from Uganda. That'd be amazing. I don't think I've ever played anybody from Uganda. I have a feeling I've tried to play Lizard before during one of these shows. He wasn't there. It says we never played, so we probably haven't. Let's see if he's around this time. I promise I won't make any Uganda be kidding me jokes. Like maybe 1 or 2. But probably 0. Or Uganda be there to play. Because, you know, country jokes, not funny. I don't do that stuff. And there he is. Mr. Lizard going for the Ruy Lopez. And the exchange Ruy Lopez, where I never know what to do. I've played bishop d6, queen f6, bishop g4, f6, knight e7. All of these moves are playable, but none of them make black's life smooth sailing. So you sort of have to know what you're doing in all these lines. Knight e7 is arguably the sharpest. Knight takes e5 is the most critical move, and after queen d4, the main line starts with queen h5, g6, queen g5. Knight f3, however, is possible as well. Queen e4, now whatever, rook e1, or knight c3. Actually, I don't know what I'm supposed to do after rook e1. Go somewhere is my best guess, but I'm not sure if g6 is correct or f5. I have a feeling this makes sense, even though it might look like I'm just aimlessly moving around, because now that he's gone knight e5, my queen can no longer be harassed by knight d4 or knight h4. Well, if I had gone there immediately... And we're back. No need to call any medics. Apologies. I don't know what that was. Like almost choked live on air in front of threes of viewers. What a drama that would have been. But I'm fine. I'm not sure if I'm fine over the board, because after knight g6, which is what I wanted to do, I'm starting to worry a little bit about g4. We have to go queen f6, knight e4, queen e7. Don't see a refutation though, so might as well. Bishop e3. That looks like a mistake, right? Give me that. A piece is a piece, as I like to point out in such situation. And a piece and a pawn are a piece and a pawn. Piece and 2 pawns are piece and 2 pawns. You get Get the idea? And yeah, there was an abrupt ending after bishop e3, which was a blunder because of the knight e5. You can't recapture due to the pin. I was a bit concerned about this, but after queen f6, knight e4, my first thought was this, but then bishop g5, and I might actually manage to blunder my queen somewhere in the woods. But then I thought I could just go here, and didn't look too bad. However, here I don't know, knight c5 maybe? Maybe I get this. I don't know, I'm just messing around, but that would have led to an interesting game. Well, in the game itself, things ended rather quickly. Thanks for the game, Lizard. Alright, last game for today. And then, I don't know, I had this ambitious plan to make it a John Wick night. I've seen the first John Wick, like every sane person out there. Why would he miss the first John Wick? But I thought for some of my less privileged friends who did not have the privilege to see John Wick #1 at the movies, we could rewatch it and then go watch John Wick #2 at the movies. So that's an ambitious plan, but I have a feeling it might not happen tonight. Maybe just John Wick #1. Like, how many times can you see John Wick #1 without it getting boring? Probably like 18, 19. I don't know. We're playing against Heima here. After knight bd7, there's so many different moves to try. Bishop e2, bishop d3, queen c2, c5, a3, rook c1. My main move, historically, that sounds very full of myself, has been a3. And after c5, black, if he's precise, he tends to equalize. But there's some play left. While queen c2 is also best met by c5, when black is okay, as far as I know. Rook d1 is one move. dc5, I believe, is what I used to play here. But it's nothing, unfortunately. I had a game against our friend Jacob van Gloot like thousands of years ago. By thousands, I mean like 8. After knight c5, bishop e2, dc, bishop c4, a6, something like that. I had absolutely nothing, and that was very sad. Come on, guys, don't spoil John Wick #2 for me. If you're giving me the exact number of kills, like what's left to pay attention to? I don't know. Looks like John Wick is getting mixed reviews in the chat, which is shocking, because how could it be anything but awesome? I'm not so sure about this knight h5 followed by f6 idea being so awesome. My bishop is forced to run around a bit, but this knight really looks misplaced here. If he goes e5, I can just take and then probably knight d5 or maybe cd5. The knight is still a bit of a spectator. Oh, is it coming back? Is the nasty cuff coming back? Goes dc4 instead. Yeah, I don't like this dude. Looks like the chat is dominated by rating discussions. Once again, it's not real people. It's just Chess24 online ratings. Also mine, I don't know. It might be inflated, might be deflated, because I win 1 point for every one of these spectacular Banter Blitz wins, where I play a lot of weaker players. Then again, yeah, I talk a lot of nonsense during these shows, so I don't know, but I'm really... I've learned this lesson the hard way. When back in the old days, I reached my 3360 rating on... the Internet Chess Club, and then I tried to cash in on it and no one would give me anything for it. So don't get too hung up on online ratings, they're not real. And it's the nature of the beast that normally people are higher rated, that inflation is bigger because there's so many games being played. And you need to give people some incentive for the games than in the real world. So, yeah, don't care, frankly. I should probably lose another 100 points, and I'm sure I will eventually, to get rid of this. Anyway, the game has continued. And the knight is still on b5, on h5, where it's badly misplaced. But I haven't managed to pose any fresh problems. So I should go about that now, as long as this knight is still out of play. I'm not sure how to go about it. Knight e4 looks tempting, knight b5, knight d5. Knight e4, bishop e7, and I don't really see a follow-up. Knight b5, what does he do? Queen c6 maybe? I don't know, let's try this. More John Wick discussion. I don't know. Do you know guys didn't like the world building? I haven't seen the second one yet, but obviously I will. I like this. What was it? The Killer Hotel, where they go to chill out. A lot of good stuff there. Like this coat people have. Coat and coats. What is not to like? And also in the first movie, which is all I can speak about with authority, they did kill his puppy. It's not like he didn't have a good reason to kill hundreds of mobsters or whatever they were. So sometimes people try to dig plot holes into these movies. Not with John Wick. Everything added up and it holds up. It's one of these movies that's an instant all-time classic, like Kung Fu Hustle, like Anchorman, like the other guys, where you see it and you know, this one I'm gonna watch another 100 times. And I hope that tonight will be one of those times. Because frankly, I haven't gotten my reps in John Wick-wise recently. And I feel like I should refresh my memory because the plot of John Wick number 2 might be a little hard to follow if I don't have it fresh in my mind what happens in John Wick number 1. What happens with Heine is that with hindsight, he probably would not have given me the h6, the e5 pawn. I'm looking for a brutal punishment. The simple way to do stuff would be, of course, to just go knight f7 check, pick up the exchange. But somehow that doesn't feel enough. So in my search for a brutal punishment, I managed to miss bishop f5. I still have a nice position, but I should pay some attention. Like all this. It really is arrogance at the end of the day, because I kind of know I'm gonna win due to my rating edge, which I just said doesn't matter because it's online play. And mainly, in the case of this game, my edge on the clock. But that should not be an excuse to just start making completely ridiculous moves all the way. Which is what I've been doing here. And all of a sudden, all kinds of nastiness is looming in the shadows. Like ef2, king h1, knight g3, boom. So I better bail out. He just never takes on f2. It's very... Maybe there is truth to this. Threat is stronger than the execution kind of thing. Very frustrating in a way. I did win on time in a losing position. But yeah, in my defense, I like winning on time. And I'm a horrible player. Thanks for the game, Haima. Is that it for the day? That's such an unsatisfactory way to end the show. But what are you gonna do? I wanted to talk about movies and give all of my pop culture references, so let's get that out. Watch all the movies I've been watching. You should watch Moonlight. That's excellent, no surprise, won Best Picture. As you might have seen, wasn't La La Land. Some confusion there, but Moonlight I enjoyed. It's just, about people and people's lives. I kind of like movies that are just about people and not plot-driven, but character-driven, if that makes sense. So Moonlight was good. Split was surprisingly good, even though, I'm not going to spoil it, but the twist was kind of, Who cares? To me, well, the internet seems to disagree. They are celebrating the Split twist. But the movie, until the Split, was fantastic. Or fantastic is a bit strong. It was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the work of James McAvoy. Logan was excellent, especially for a superhero movie. But also, this is a standalone character piece, whatever. I don't know. I don't know terms. I enjoyed it. It's gory, well acted. It's good. What other movies did I see? I have a feeling I watched The Lobster. It's a bit of an older movie. Didn't do it for me. Like, people love that Lobster movie, and it was so hyped I felt I had to go watch it. But it's so slow, and especially the second part outside of the hotel, I just couldn't get into it. Great acting job by Colin Farrell, who really looks like just a broken everyman, so I thought he did a great job. But the movie itself, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't stay with it. I did finish it, but it was hard to give it my full attention all the way. So that's today's Banter Blitz Adventures. Apologies in case you've been watching this live for the delay, the techie stuff. But Tech Jan got it all under control. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend wherever you are. I'm sure we'll keep spitting out some Banter Blitzes these days, so stay tuned. See you next time. Bye.